The Town of Rome Board meeting Thursday, May 16th to order. Roll call starting on my left, please.
Evenson here.
Minter here.
Jumati here.
Cole here.
Gabriel here.
Certify the posting of the meeting, please.
I certify that on Wednesday, May 15th, 2024, the agenda for the Town of Rome Board meeting for Thursday, May 16th, 2024 was posted at the Rome Town Hall at 9:55 a.m., Quick Trip LLC at 10:20 a.m., Yakuza Port Edward State Bank at 11:15 a.m., email to the Wisconsin Rapids Tribune at 10:02 a.m.
Okay. Approve the agenda.
I move to approve the agenda for today. I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, second by Supervisor Cole to approve the agenda. Any discussion?
Wouldn't it make sense to put the closed session before the citizen comments and then come back to citizen comments when we come back in?
If every,
Just in case there's any citizens that
so,
want to comment at the regular meeting?
I'm okay with, changing the agenda to do that if you, we can do that if you like. You want to make a motion to do that then, Supervisor Minter?
Well, we have the motion to approve the agenda is already on the floor.
As long as so it'd be Supervisor Evenson and Supervisor Cole, as long as they're willing to amend their motion to move number 6 to, it would be after number 10.
But no, move number 9 before number 6.
Well, you need to move 9 and 10 before 6.
Oh, 9 and 10, yeah, you're right, because that's the in and out thing. So to
Right.
okay?
Yeah.
I'm good with that. Move 9 and 10.
All right, so we have an amendment to approve the agenda by Supervisor Evenson and Supervisor Cole, 9 and 10, prior to number 6. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And before we say the pledge, I would just like to say, in recognition of the 74th Armed Forces Day this Saturday, May 18th, I'd like us all to take a moment of silence to honor and acknowledge all those who currently serve and have served in the armed forces, including the reserves and the Coast Guard of the United States of America and her territories. So when you rise, please just take a moment of silence and then we'll say our pledge. Thank you. All right, so number 9, the town board may enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stat Section 19.85 sub 1 sub C of the Wisconsin statutes considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, the water utility office manager / accountant, and for the purpose of reviewing applications received for zoning administrator.
Move to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute section 19.85 sub 1 sub C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, the water utility office manager, accountant, and review the zoning administrator applications.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Cole to enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin Stat Section 19.85 sub 1 sub C of the Wisconsin statutes. Roll call vote starting on my left, please.
Evenson, yes.
Minter, yes.
Jumati, yes.
Cole, yes.
Gabriel, yes.
I'm now into closed session. take a drink quick here.
Come out of session, number 10,
Don't forget to grace your,
and we'll go back
There you
All right.
go.
to number 6.
sure the Catholic Church would exclude.
All right. We ready? Oh, Jason's gonna set that up quick. All right, the town board reserves the right to reconvene into open session as authorized by Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, Sub 2, to possibly take action from the closed session and continue with agenda.
Move that we return to open session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub 2.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Evenson to come out of closed session and reconvene into open session as authorized by Wisconsin State Statute, Section 19.85, Sub 2, to possibly take action from the closed session and continue with the agenda. Supervisor Minter?
First motion from the closed session is that the town board authorize interim administrator Chief Jason Lobby to work with, to extend an interview offer, or an interview opportunity to one of the candidates for the zoning administrator position. And the interviews would be conducted by interim administrator Lobby, Attorney Nichols, Attorney Flanagan, and our consultant from MSA,
No.
Not
Yeah.
MSA.
not MSA,
The PAA,
PAA, sorry,
Chris Schwartz.
Chris Schwartz.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have, you worded that a lot harder than we. Motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Cole, to allow interim administrator Jason Lauby, Attorney Flanagan, and advisor Chris Schwartz from PAA to extend an interview and offer to, or interview to the candidate selected in closed session. Is that, okay. And you got the rest of it, right? Okay, thank you. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Second motion, I move that the town board authorize interim administrator Jason Lobby to extend a interim finance director offer to the current waterworks utility manager, Robbie Schraub-Wangler, to, in addition to her water duties, to be the interim finance director for the town of Rome.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Cole, to allow interim administrator Jason Lauby to extend an offer to Rome Water Utility Office Manager Accountant Robbie Rumler to be the interim finance director. I don't have the rest of that, for the town of Rome. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Now, moving on. 6. All right. Before I read these citizen comments, at our last meeting, we kind of went a little bit long, and we had some interaction between the board and ourselves, and it brought to light, even after our annual meeting, that it's apparent that people and topics are getting more divisive than ever. So allow me just a little latitude here, if you will, that it's impacting us so much, our community, our world, and everything. And so it's affecting our meetings, and it's time to just revisit some basic rules of decorum and sincerely think about how we interact with one another, and we can all improve. It's my role, and all of our chairs' roles, we had a little bit at our Plan Commission meeting the other evening as well, to maintain decorum as stated in our citizen comments section of the agendas and our town ordinance. And that's minding our minutes, how many people are able to speak, and how long that goes on in our interactions and how we treat one another. I and we will do our best to follow these rules and expect the same from all of our boards, committees, those in our employment, and our attendees. How we treat one another and how we interact is a reflection on all of us and this great town of ours. We are blessed to be part of this vibrant community, which means something different to everyone, and we can all strive to be better. Thank you. Citizen comments, do we have any?
No, we do not.
Okay. No action contemplated except possible referral to a future agenda. Informational updates, meeting recaps, recent correspondence, current events, and announcements. Do you have any?
I do want to let everybody know that, Saturday, the Alex C. Dove Foundation fundraiser is at Camelot on the Lake, from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. So it's a lot of fun, great time for everybody to stop out.
Took care of one of mine. Saved me.
I'd just like to extend congratulations to all the members of the various classes of 2024, whether that be the graduating class from the Coosa High School, those Assumption students that live in the town of Rome, and even those that are college students that have recently graduated from various colleges, but that have grown up and lived here during their formative years. So congratulations to the classes of 2024.
All right, I have a few. The Rome Farmers Market starts tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the Rome Town Center. So, and that runs from tomorrow through September 27th. So that's really exciting. It's always nice. I saw our Public Works people out there sprucing up the garden area and the parks area. So that's really exciting. As I said earlier, the Armed Forces Day is being celebrated on Saturday, May 18th from 8 to 4. Ooh, I'm sorry. I forgot to turn that off. I'm very, very sorry. 8 to 4 on Saturday. The American Legion Red Cloud Post 0250 in Friendship is having a day of celebration, so you might want to go down and support them. There's a number of golf outings supporting a number of great things this summer. There's a golf outing fundraiser June 18th at the Lake Arrowhead Golf Course to support our Rome Firemen's Fund. And there is a golf outing on June 23rd for the American Legion Ryan Larson Post 65, also at Lake Arrowhead. And then there is a golf outing on June 27th, Barking for Birdies. That's a golf fundraiser for the Humane Societies in the local area. So, a golfer, you've got plenty to support in the area. Next.
Oh, I think Lori covered everything I had on my list too. May 25th is what's it called? Dash for the Dogs.
Dash for the Dogs.
And a lot of people have signed up for this. So last I heard was 70. It's more now.
I'm
and-
borrowing a dog. I'm
and
so excited.
50 dogs. So this is going to be quite interesting, 50 dogs and 70 people, but it should be a really fun thing. That is on May 25th, and it starts and ends at the Up North Brewery, and then there'll be music and raffles and all kinds of fun. And as usual, if you want to know official information about the town of Rome, go to the town website at romewi.com. If you want to know events in the town, go to visitromewi.com. That's all I have.
I have nothing.
And I actually had one more. The Adams County Fire District Volleyball fundraiser is this weekend, which they serve a lot of communities south of us. It's from 8 to 4 in conjunction with Armed Forces Day also, and the Red Cloud Post 250 down in Friendship. The teams, there's a fee for registration. It's $120. But there's a first place winner payout, but that supports the Adams County Fire District. So you can participate in that as well. So lots going on and lots to celebrate again in a great town and a great county. So thank you. And let me turn this off now. Sorry. All right. So moving on. No action contemplated. Oh, I did that already. Department and committee reports. Any questions on any of the reports from any of the supervisors? Anyone? No?
See anything?
Okay. All right. Discussion and possible action. Approval of the May 2nd, 2024 meeting minutes and May 2nd, 2024 special meeting minutes. Anyone?
I'll move to approve the May 2nd board meeting minutes and the May 2nd special meeting minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Cole and a second by Supervisor Evenson to approve the May 2nd meeting minutes and the May 2nd special meeting minutes. Any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, discussion and possible action. Checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries. Approved checks 46351 through 46385 totaling $145,375.42. Auto payments totaling $85,500.36. State Social Security Medicare withholdings totaling $33,888.47. Payroll vouchers V 21914 through V 22047 totaling $93,802.72. Receipts 25491 through 25588 totaling $424,612.36.
I move to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as stated.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Supervisor Evenson, a second by Supervisor Gabriel to approve the checks, vouchers, receipts, and journal entries as presented. Any discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action. Approval of resolution number 24 authorizing the issuance and sale of $2,270,000 general obligation promissory notes, series 2024A. And we have Greg Johnson joining us from Ellers this evening. Good morning. Good evening, Greg. How are you?
Good evening.
You have
I'm well, thank you. Good
Good.
afternoon, everybody.
Hi, you guys.
I'm going to go through the sale report that you should have a copy of that we prepared today. This is in regards to the general obligation promissory notes for 2024, which are funding road improvement projects in the town. We conducted a public sale of the notes this morning. We received a total of 5 bids. The winning bid was submitted by Baird, an underwriter out of Milwaukee. Their final true interest cost on the notes came in at 3.2863%. The total net principal and interest over the life of the notes is $2,744,693, which is right in line with our pre-sale estimate. I'm going to go through some of the attachments that go through the details of the note transaction in a little more detail. Following our executive summary is the bid tabulation, which includes all the bids that were submitted, so the 5 bids that were submitted this morning. So you'll see Baird was part of a large, what's called lead underwriter for a large syndicate, a lot of other underwriters and financial institutions that were part of their bidding package. So we always award the bid based on the lowest true interest rate, and so Baird submitted that lowest rate today. Then you'll see the other bidders, so we have bidders out of Minneapolis, other bidders out of Milwaukee, and bids from New York, and bids from Dallas. So interest, from throughout the country on the town's notes today. Next, I'll go through the financial tables at the back of the pre-sale report. We'll start with table 1, which is the sources and uses. The total amount of project costs that you have for road improvements totals $2,174,687. That's the same amount that was authorized by the town board previously. As is pretty common in today's underwriting market for municipal debt, a premium bid was submitted. What a premium bid is when the underwriter agrees to pay the town more than the face value or par amount of the notes that you're borrowing. The analogy I always use is it's like when a car dealer offers to give you cash back when you purchase a vehicle that you can use to reduce your borrowing costs. So they pay you an excess amount that you can then use to cover their compensation, and then the rest of it goes into the town's debt service fund to help pay interest expense. And I'll explain in a moment how that kind of helped us with the financing plan. But the total amount that you're borrowing is $2,225,000, which is less than the amount that you authorized previously. So the good news is that you get the same amount for project costs, but you're borrowing less in terms of principal. So the total amount is $2,225,000. Table 2 shows the final debt service schedule and the application of that premium to pay interest expense in 2025 and a portion of it in 2026. So what this enabled us to do is to restructure the notes today to kind of have a more favorable impact on your debt service levy in 2025 compared to our pre-sale model. So this, the premium will be used to pay the full amount of interest in 2025 and a portion of it in 2026. So you'll see over the 10-year life of the notes, your net principal and interest cost, $2,744,693. We structured the debt so that was exactly in line with our pre-sale estimate, so the total principal and interest isn't costing any more than what we estimated. But what that premium allowed us to do was to restructure the payments to lessen that levy increase that we were projecting from 2024 to 2025 budget years, and that is shown in Table 3. So this incorporates your existing debt, the proposed principal and interest on these notes, and then you'll see under the proposed debt, your total debt service levy. Your levy for debt service in the 2024 budget to 2025 will go up $14,255. Previously, we were estimating that increase was going to be closer to a little over $81,000 increase from 24 to 25. So with that premium, we were able to restructure the debt service payments so that levy increase for debt will be less from 2024 to 2025, and your total principal and interest cost over the notes isn't any higher than our pre-sale estimate. So it kind of has less of a impact on your levy for next year's budget. So on Table 4, you'll see this exact same table. This is what we presented to you previously a month ago. So again, showed that levy increase was going to be closer to $83,600 from 24 to 25. Again, it's only going to be a $14,255 increase instead. So we're able to lessen that levy impact for next year's budget. In Table 5, we show where the town stands on its general obligation and debt limit. At the end of, beginning of this fiscal year, end of 2023, you're at 17% of your general obligation debt limit, which means you cannot have principal outstanding that exceeds 5% of the town's total equalized value, with some growth projected in your value for this coming year. And with these notes, we're estimating by the end of 2024, you'll be at about 16% of your debt limit, so essentially unchanged. So even though you're borrowing more money, your anticipated growth in equalized value isn't going to increase your debt burden at all in terms of your principal outstanding. So the final attachment is the report from Moody's Investor Services. As the town has done for its past several financings, it applied for a rating with Moody's Investor Services. The town's existing rating is AA3. That rating was affirmed as a part of going through the rating update for these notes. The rating scale goes AAA, the AA1, AA2, the AA3. So the town's at the AA3 level, which is a very strong credit rating. Encourage you to read the report as you have time. It's a nice third-party assessment of the town's economic and fiscal strengths. Some particular items of note in the report. They talk about the town's healthy fund balance, your healthy cash position and liquidity. It's considered very strong, a very healthy financial factor for the town. So the town has maintained that for several years, and that continues to be recognized by Moody's. So all in all, it was a very favorable report. Want to commend staff and the chairwoman on their participation in the rating call. Did very well. So the rating is a nice reflection of the town's overall financial condition and your economic health. So to summarize the notes, the total principal and interest came right in line with our pre-sale estimate. We were able to restructure the debt service payments as a result of that premium bid. So your levy increase from 24 budget to 25 budget for debt will be much less than what we had projected. But the total debt service costs over 10 years are right in line with our pre-sale estimate. So the action item on your agenda is to authorize the resolution for the issuance of debt. Just a reminder that the final resolution amount is $2,225,000, which is less than what we had estimated. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions.
That was quick.
I'm happy. I have one, let's see. Does anybody have any questions for Greg? I don't think so. Any questions at all?
I don't,
No questions? No. Jason, do you have anything for Greg?
it was quick, but we covered everything.
No, it was very good. A very exciting sale. You said that in your email too, that it was a good sale process. And last year we only had 4
Yes.
bids and this year we have 5, so that was exciting too. So, all right, well, Greg, thank you very, very much again, and as always, we really appreciate your work for us. One question I do have for you, if you would come back maybe in the next few months and we can talk about maybe some fiscal forecasting like we have previously, and talk about what we might be looking at in the next 2 years, especially since this debt, or the premium, the way it'll cover the cost of this loan for the next year and a half, and we know that we'll have some loans that'll be paid off. We can do some planning. I know we had gotten some numbers on the TIF too, and what that looks like, because I know we had some questions about that during the annual meeting, and you gave Melissa and I some very good information on that can be shared at another date as well, and what that looks like for us in the future, and some planning that we could do. Because it's been
Yeah, that
recommended.
sounds great.
That would be wonderful. So we could talk about that soon and maybe do that in the coming months. So thank you very much.
too.
Excellent. Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.
Thanks, I'll just sit tight just to make sure that, you take action on the resolution, but thanks for your time this evening.
Thank you. All right. So we have we have one more item before that then, or we got it right here? Okay.
So the amount has to be changed in the resolution?
Yes, it does, and we knew that might happen
Okay.
based on, because the sale was today,
So the amount is 2,225,000?
yes, it was 2,225,000, correct, Greg? Yep. Okay.
Correct.
Do you want to make that motion then, Jackie, or?
I can. I'll move that we approve resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $2,225,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2024A.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Cole, second by Supervisor Minter for the approval of resolution number 24- authorizing the issuance and sale of $2,225,000 of general obligation promissory notes, Series 2024A. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you again, Greg.
You're welcome. Have a good rest of your evening.
You too. Bye-bye. Right. Item number 14. Discussion and possible action. Options and estimated costs for Apache Avenue roadwork, State Highway 13 to 10th Avenue and culvert replacements. Do you have that information for us, Jason? I see, Brad's not with us this evening. He was.
Sure.
I thought he was
We
gonna.
just wanted to go over this and make sure that we wanted to move forward with the design of that road. We talked at the last, meeting. Brad recommends either way that we would put the culvert in. He feels that the road surface in the shape that it's in now on that section of Apache would last for a few more years. He estimates a $350,000 savings if you did an overlay on the existing asphalt that is there a couple years down the road when it starts to fail more versus putting this bike lane on. But in any event, the culvert has some issues with its pitch and whatnot, and he would recommend replacing that culvert. So the big decision is, do you wanna continue with the engineering of the other road work outside of the culvert to add the bike lane, or are we looking at more of an overlay? The tunnel has been delayed somewhat. Brad said that was gonna go under 13. With our spending on the roads, we talked about it at the last meeting, and the 5-year project, we're pretty tight on funds, so if the board doesn't wanna do this next year, I don't know that I would pay to do the engineering costs of the roadway if you're not gonna do the project soon.
So what he's expressed in this, in this here, the way he's got this, do you have this in front of you, the way he,
Yes.
okay. So the way he's saying this to us here is,
The county, the culvert, the county will pay for half of it, so you'd have 100,000 that you'd likely get reimbursed next year for the culvert, and it would cost the town 100,000, and they would replace the culvert. It'd be wider there, so that's kinda dangerous, the steep slope that's right there, they'd have a guardrail there, so somebody walking could get out of the way of traffic there until such time as the rest of the road would be done. And it's kinda laid out in his thing, the overlay would be 200,000, 550,000 to add the bike lane. And so we just wanted to make sure before we do all the engineering, that the board's still on board with adding the bike lane to the rest of it in the near future. I believe Brad spoke that those designs are good for roughly 5 years.
So the $8,000 is the design cost for the culvert. It'd be an additional 6,500 then for the shoulder, the paved shoulder, is what he's saying? For the engineering?
There'll be more, he was gonna bid the engineering costs
Okay.
out.
so last year when we had work done by general engineering,
There's some basic work done for a total of $6,500 on engineering it. To engineer the whole road, it'll be substantially more than that.
I don't know if Greg Braniak contacted any other board members, but he may have reached out to everybody, but he has reached out urging that the board go forward with approving the bike lane for safety of people traveling on that road. And I think for future of the potential Link the Lakes project, which we're, Visit Rome is still waiting for a grant decision on the current grant, and if that doesn't come through, they're moving forward with some things that are required with any grant, and the possibility of moving forward without a grant and seeking other forms of funding. So it's not quite accurate to say that that project has stalled. It hasn't stalled. We're still waiting on the grant, and then what the result of that pushes as far as future funding or other ways to get it done.
so when did the Link the Lakes project start?
When did it start?
Yes.
I don't know what you're asking. It hasn't
When did
started.
it, when, no, when did the,
was it?
when was it conceived? When did the concept of Link the Lakes start?
24 months, maybe?
About 2 years ago.
2 years?
So
Okay.
we've had one grant submitted, and we're waiting for a result on the second grant.
And so, but the potential of actually getting a grant was stated, what we heard was when? Maybe 27, 28? From the DOT?
Which the engineering though would
20.
still be good probably, cause it's like 5 to 6 years, it would still cover it.
Okay.
Based upon the fact that the engineering's good for 5 to 6 years, that's within that, we're within that time frame, and I think doing the engineering now for the potential bike lane in the future just makes sense, because if we're gonna put the bike lane in at some point, it's not saying we have to put the bike lane in on the initial paving of Apache, but if we have it planned, that, the money's, we either spend it now or spend it later. So I would say we do the planning, we plan for it now, and then we see how once the culvert's in, and we go from there with potential of whether or not the bike lane gets installed sooner rather than later.
The engineering would be to install it, you know, Brad did say this road would need an overlay in the next 3 years, so the engineering would be an entire replacement of that road. That's where the big cost savings are, so you have to keep in mind, you wouldn't do an overlay and then add the bike lane, cause it'd be much more cost to get the gravel up to the edge, so we wanted to make sure the board wants to go ahead with total replacement of that road to add the bike lane, because if he doesn't overlay, you wouldn't be putting the bike lane on in the foreseeable future. So if you wanna move forward and put the bike lane on, just move forward as planned with the culvert replacement, and the engineering for the road. We just wanted to make sure there wasn't any changes in board direction on road repair after talking about it when Brad was here at the last meeting due to the other roads that have to be done in the borrowing that we just did this evening. Cause certainly you'd have to borrow more to do this road in addition to the other roads that are slated to be repaired next year.
Can you just help me break this down? So we've got how much for, I can just kind of list this out. So if we did the engineering, including the bike lane preliminary costs, what are we looking at for that? That's the
I
8,000?
thought Brad said it was 150,000.
So I'm looking at all these numbers and
Yeah, the way
I-
he broke this out is
It-
not very,
It's okay, but it's just a little bit confusing to me, so that's why I'm trying to like list this out. What exactly are we approving? I don't wanna approve something when I don't know exactly the total amount that it is that I'm even talking about.
The engineering
possible.
costs were in the loan originally.
Okay,
So
we've got-
the only reason we brought it forward was if you did the overlay, you'd save the $350,000.
so we're
off of-
either
So that
approving,
includes the engineering costs.
okay,
You'd save the $350 if you just put the culvert in. So engineering costs, labor to do the road, everything, you'd be a $350 savings to do the overlay. So he doesn't have it broke out in his memo. I believe he had it broke out in the last packet, and I apologize, I didn't bring that back, but he had in the loan documents
Yeah.
what he was gonna do with that money. It was
that's,
broke out
that's
the
where I'm at,
engineering
a
costs.
savings off of what number? So,
Plus the $100,000 a year later that we'd get back. though.
Yes, we'll
curve
get
it.
another,
so bottom line is, we'd have $450,000 saved if we did an overlay in the culvert, is what you're saying. Is that what you're saying, 450, or
350,000 saved if you did the culvert.
just the culvert? It'd be 350, and then we'd get another 100,000 back for a total, of $450,000 if we just replaced the culvert and did an overlay. Is that what you're saying, Jason?
I'm just gonna go back to the last.
So
packet.
that's $450,000.
Except that
I'm
we then
kinda
we wouldn't
looking
have
at,
a
I'm
bike
trying to
lane.
figure out what, this is all, cause this is like,
And a totally
includes
brand
other
new
roads.
road without any overlay in it.
Total road work.
All new.
This
paving.
looks like concrete.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find just the,
Right, and then it would all wear evenly. I know Greg called me too, and I understand a bike lane is, I understand how important it is to get to that other road to go Queensway and that, but
This one was at the last meeting.
at some point, or
But
do
we're
we have
not
it?
committing ourselves to putting the bike lane in if we
Right.
do the engineering for the bike lane.
Right,
Archer Avenue.
I feel in the long run, we have a bike lane that goes from 8th to 10th. Sooner or later, when that road gets redone, we have to continue the bike lane to Highway 13, because to take it away when somebody's riding down the same street isn't what, because then now you're putting them on the gravel shoulder.
but right now,
But right now, if we could proceed with the engineering costs, we can deal with the bike lane, you know, whether we redo the road or cap it or whatever at a later date, but at least we have the plans ready to go. If we tell Brad we're gonna do the bike lane, I think in the long run, whenever Apache gets redone, we do need to add the bike lane.
but we're still overlaying it right now.
No,
No, we're not,
No, but we,
we're just doing the engineering, that's it.
The
But-
engineer.
He wants to know, do we want to engineer for a bike lane or engineer for no bike lane? That's the question that we're looking at right now,
Not the actual,
not the actual replacement of the road.
oh,
this is just the
This
engineering
is just the
cost.
engineering costs.
That's what I was getting at, what exactly are we approving
see, I'm
here?
confused again then, because we're talking about overlay.
Well, okay,
What we're discussing, Lori, is if the board changed its mind, which it sounds like it hasn't, we can move forward and he'll engineer the road and we'll be done, but it wouldn't pay if you said, hey, with all this road work we gotta do, we really can't afford to put a bike lane on the side of that because we got other roads that got potholes in it and whatnot, and road maintenance that we're not doing. You could do the overlay for 200,000, saving you 350,000, which would do a whole nother year of his road work almost that he has in the budget. So we didn't wanna
Yeah.
spend the $5,000 to engineer a road that's never gonna get built. But if the board's decided you're gonna do it in the next 3 years, I would recommend you don't have to take any action on this. He'll go forward with the engineering as it was originally slated, and we'll have a design to put the bike lane on in the next 3 years, whenever that would come up in his budget. We just wanted to make sure that we didn't have plans drawn up that would never get used, so.
So Brad's already has the go-ahead. It would be for this board to tell him to stop his go-ahead if we wanna
Do the
change
To
something.
do the engineering
So
stuff.
I'd say we
already
leave stuff
did,
as
yeah.
it is.
Yep.
If
I do
anybody,
too, 'cause I think
No action
everything,
then there's no,
all the recreational reports that we've seen, it's imperative that we improve our bike lanes and walking paths and all of that, so I think we should try to do that where we can.
So I don't think any action's necessary, cause he'll come back with the formal bid after the engineering is done. The engineering was already approved.
okay.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
Right. Number 15, discussion and possible action, consideration of a final plat for Sedge Village South to be located on 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sand Valley South LLC, described as follows. Lot 26, 27, and 28, Sedge Village, document number 572728, and part of the northwest quarter and the northeast quarter of the southwest quarter and the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, all in the section 26, town 20 north, range 5 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. Nick?
Thank you. All right, so good evening. This is the first of 3 items that are recommendations that came from Plan Commission. So this will look familiar because you've seen the preliminary plat at your last meeting. Just a general kind of summary of it is, this is a final plat application for Sedge Village South. This is, as a reminder, a proposed 29.16 acre subdivision. It's located, it's a bit unique, so I say it again, it's located partially in Sedge Village subdivision, partially in the adjacent quarter section of section 26. 11 lots are proposed in the plat, just to reconcile that with what you see on the application. It's 11 buildable lots, then there's also 3 outlots denoted on there. That's what gets to the 14 that you see on that final plat application. And those lots that are buildable range in size from 1.04 acres to 7.59 acres. This item came before the Plan Commission at its May 14th, 2024 meeting, where a public hearing was held, after which a recommendation was made to approve the final plat for Sedge Village South.
I move to approve the final plat for Sedge Village South.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter, second by Supervisor Evenson for the consideration of a final plat for Sedge Village South to be located on a 29.16 acre parcel owned by Sand Valley South LLC. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, consideration of a preliminary plat for Sedge Village North to be located on a 38.303 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, described as follows. Lots 1 and 2, Sedge Village, document number 572728, and part of the southwest quarter and the northwest quarter of the northeast quarter, and part of the northwest quarter of the southeast quarter, section 26, town 20 north, range 5E, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. I was getting pretty good at that, nice.
Okay, so this one is a preliminary plat for Sedge Village North. So the applicant is proposing a 38.03 acre subdivision. Again, similar to Sedge South, it's located partially in Sedge Village subdivision, partially on adjacent quarter sections of 26. This particular subdivision has 19 lots that are proposed. These lots range in size from 0.37 acres to 1.39 acres. Just a general note, because it's worth explaining on your map, that there are private roadways serving that subdivision extending from Luna Lane, which was previously platted on as part of Sedge Village subdivision. This particular plat, though, does have a proposed rerouting of Luna Lane from that location previously platted. We did have a extended conversation with the applicant at the Plan Commission meeting, just to understand kind of timing considerations. The general understanding is it's not moving at current, but it would be planned to move potentially in the future. In the event that it would be planned, just to give you some general thoughts on that, is there will be steps taken to make sure that those lots that are it would be the west of Luna Lane are served, have road frontage, so they're not landlocked. There will be no landlocked parcels there. Included in your packet materials is the proposed preliminary plat with accompanying application, cover letter, property limits map, and all other documents that we require in our code to be submitted. Just then to give the final bit of background, staff did review this and ensured consistency with chapter 326.14, did provide feedback to the developer where there were things that are missing. Updates were made to almost all those items for the Plan Commission meeting. You do have a findings of fact in your packet materials. The findings of fact that came out of the May 14th, 2024 meeting did make the recommendation to approve the preliminary plat. There was one condition on there to provide updated covenants and to have that on record. The reason that that was a condition is the covenants that we were provided did not have Sedge Village North on it. It just said Sedge Village. Just to give a follow-up to that, I did have a conversation with their attorney today just to understand what their plan is for that. Part of the complexity, and why I said it both times now for each of these plats, is we have partial overlap with Sedge Village. We have then some that is kind of ancillary to it. What they're going to do to simplify this, and I think it is probably the best solution, is they're going to create a overall set of covenants for Sedge Village. They're going to include in those covenants all of these boundaries. So there's not going to be 3 of these documents to try to figure out which one applies. It's going to all be included in there. So they are currently taking steps to satisfy that condition, and that will not be a problem, I wouldn't anticipate, by the final plat.
Yeah, be good.
Move to approve the preliminary plat for Sedge Village, is this north?
Yep.
North, with including the findings of facts that the developer provide the updated covenants to the town.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Evenson for the consideration of a preliminary plat for Sedge Village North to be located on a 38.03 acre parcel owned by Sedge Village LLC, with the findings of facts that the updated covenants will be provided to the town. Any more discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, consideration of a site plan of operation application by Al Schmidt relating to occupancy of the existing building by Visit Rome, Wisconsin, Inc. for office space and tourism/community welcome center, use at 1146 County Road D, also described as Lot 1 of CSM 1015, located in the southwest quarter, northeast quarter, Section 8, Town 20 North, Range 06 East, Town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin, with a parcel number of 030-00639-0000.
All right, I will tee it up, but I won't take any, I'm gonna try not to take any thunder from anybody that's here that's,
You need all the thunder.
So applicant is requesting approval of a site plan of operation for the property. Applicant is proposing entering into a lease of the existing building with Visit Rome, Wisconsin for office space and tourism community welcome center use. There's a letter of intent with Visit Rome that's included that outlines the intended use and operation of the building and the premises space, as well as plans to the outside of the building. The Plan Commission did consider this item at its May 14th, 2024 meeting, where a public hearing was held, after which the Plan Commission did make a recommendation to approve the site plan of operation. I would note that you do have findings of fact included in your packet. There was a condition included on there, so I will let Lisa speak to it, but there is going to be potentially a barricade or some kind of closing off of a portion. The condition relates to that the barricade be visually or aesthetically pleasing, so not stand out as something kind of high vis or anything like that. Blend into the property.
Alright, so I think three of you have heard this already, I'm gonna do the same spiel. So, I'm sure
Oh, no,
you're
word for
aware,
word.
Visit Rome, Wisconsin, and I'm Lisa Kubis from Visit Rome. We serve as the destination marketing organization for the town of Rome, providing both tourism promotion and tourism development. We're interested in leasing the building for a dedicated space for Rome's Welcome Center, as well as our overall operations. We feel the location will provide exceptional exposure for Visit Rome, as well as a convenient location for visitors and residents alike. I'm sure, I don't know how many of you have been in that building, but there are 3 offices, which will be occupied by myself, Jillian Alekna, who is our marketing coordinator. We have a service agreement with Chelsea Willard. She's kind of our creative director, helps us a lot with photography, so she'll be in that 3rd office part-time. The large conference area will obviously be utilized by our staff, our board of directors, but we did want to open it up to the community as well. The nonprofits and other community groups that would like to use it as a meeting space. We'll sell probably limited Visit Rome branded merchandise, t-shirts, coffee mugs. Our hours of operation will be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, but the building does contain a vestibule, which will be really nice for us. So that'll be open 24/7 to house all of the guides, maps, and such for the area. I think the building and lawn looks much better already. We removed all the big boulders that were in there. There were a lot of yellow cement pillars that were removed. An old dead tree bush was removed. State Green has been treating the lawn. We've hired a lawn service. I've talked to Fosses about doing some planting of bushes and a tree in the back. We're planning on sprucing up the corner. Any questions?
The new sign is nice with the lumpine on there. I said that to you the other night.
So we're also looking to approve the sign as well tonight, too? Yeah, just so they can move forward with the sign, or does that have to be a separate issue?
Well, so there was a conversation about the sign at the plan commission meeting. You certainly, that's part of your materials, and you certainly can provide input on it. The sign permit does meet the requirements and would be then.
And it was discussed at the plan commission, which we approved and agreed that it is a monument sign and the measurements were within the requirements. They are met. There was some discussion at first, but it does meet the requirements. Nick verified it, so.
I just wanna make sure any motion includes the sign, so they can go ahead
Go
and
ahead and get it
Go
going.
ahead to order that.
I think it's a great location, to get you in there. Hopefully it won't, too much traffic craziness right there, but
Right.
should be okay.
We don't have a ton of traffic
No.
right now on our building. I would assume we'll have more.
You're gonna be
but-
sharing that same entrance though with the building behind you, right?
No, I asked
it's
that
actually a
question the
separate
other
road.
day.
Oh, okay, they're gonna be,
Yeah.
okay, good,
Yeah.
good, that'll help.
Oh, and the blockade that we talked about obviously was an old bank, so there is a drive-through that is
Yeah.
functional.
That's a cute idea. Wait, tell them what you were
Yeah,
talking about.
We're gonna try to do some fun things, going on a hike, drive through for some trail mix one day, or a dog biscuit day, but otherwise, we plan on having some type of nice looking blockade, not
Something
Not
that's,
an orange
something
and
that's
white
movable,
striped thing,
something that's
but-
movable.
Yep,
Okay.
and I'll have that designed by, probably Quality Printing in Rapids.
Okay, so whoever makes the motion then say that besides this, that's on here, that it would include their sign, so they can get going on that right away with their site plan of operation then, Nick, right? Okay.
Yeah, I think they're set to go forward with that, we just need to issue the sign permit. And
Oh,
that's-
yeah, the
that's
sign
holding-
permit, yeah.
That's just holding on final approval of the site plan of operation. But by all means, you can include that in, your motion if you'd like to.
You, oh, that's right, you can't do
Move
it.
to approve the site plan of operation for the former US Bank property, with the intention of it being the new home of Visit Rome, as approved by the planning commission with the, findings of facts about the aesthetically pleasing barricade, and also to approve the sign for said property.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Supervisor Minter and a second by Supervisor Evenson for consideration of a site plan of operation application by Al Schmidt relating to the occupancy of the existing building by Visit Rome, Wisconsin, Inc. for the office space, with the findings of fact, including the sign permit to be approved by the zoning administrator. And I think that was everything, so. Yeah. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Hi.
Opposed?
I'll sustain, cause I sit on that board.
But so does Jackie, so I don't know that that's,
I'm,
is it,
it doesn't matter, it passed either way, so
You can make,
oh, that's up to him then? Oh,
I
all
sit
right,
on the board, so
all right.
conflict.
I'm an advisor on the board.
I sit on the board though.
All right,
It still
I'll-
passes.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention?
Abstention.
Okay. Motion carries. Thank you. Oh, Lisa, may I give you a note quick? I need one extra scarf and I'll make a big donation if you give me one extra. I already have my in. Thank you. Thank you. All right. 18, approval of resolution number 24 revising the Town of Rome fee schedule.
So this is in the packet, there's a couple things, background checks, changed, we would ask that those go in, Melissa, was it May 21st?
Yes.
The DOR is requiring a lot more background checks on each person that applies for liquor licensing, and we are charged for each time we do one of those backgrounds, so that's why that increase is listed there. The others deal with the zoning, department, a $25 increase across most of their permits. Along with the $25 increase, there's a $25 reduction if you're willing to use Zoning Hub and apply for your stuff online, so.
You feel that $10 is enough to cover all of your
it's
town
each-
staff and,
Correct, it's each
okay, all right.
person.
So
So
was
if you got
that,
5 people, they pay for each person that we run, that's
All
the
right.
change in it.
All right.
was the $25 increase recommended by someone, or how did you come up with the amount to increase by $25?
Been talking with MSA and just looking to make a lot of it's to cover costs of people coming in person to the counter, but the others to incentivize using our technology that we paid significant investment for. So basically, if you use technology, there's no fee increase. If
Okay.
you demand coming to the counter, you're gonna pay a $25 counter fee.
Okay, just so people are clear on
Yeah.
why it was done.
Yeah, all of our expenses, MSA is obviously significantly more than what we were paying before in zoning, so it's to offset in-person expenses.
And I think that makes sense, you know, because the software is so easy to use and so many communities are using it, and that's why we bought it, and that's why, you know, it makes sense to try and get people to use it. It makes it easier for them, and then they got an online record of it. We have an online record of it. And this way, it just starts people to get to, it forces them to start using it. I mean, we're all we're getting more and more smart that way. I mean, so we might as well
Yeah, it was
find a way to.
recommended by our consultants. So
Yes, exactly.
Do we know how it compares to other communities? Are these just all kind of in line with what other communities are charging, or does that matter?
It varies, we're low on some, and some places are lower on a certain fee than us,
Okay.
but we're lower on other fees than what other.
So sort of in
communities are.
line, basically, just, okay.
That's what we're finding, is that other communities are charging fees higher than ours, especially like with building and zoning, and so we've gotta we'll start covering our costs and our staff fees for involving with the paperwork and everything else, so.
Just think it's important for people to know that it's not
Yes.
outrageous fees, or it's in line with what everybody else is charging, and they have opportunity to avoid the higher fee by using the software. So I'll make a motion to approve, resolution number 24 revising the town of Rome fee schedule.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Cole and a second by Supervisor, Gabriel to approve the resolution number 24 revising the Town of Rome fee schedule. Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Discussion and possible action, approval of resolution number 24 authorizing the sale of a 10-acre portion of town-owned property in the Rome Town Center being part of parcel number 030-01136-0501, located in part of the northwest quarter and northeast quarter, northwest quarter of section 17, town 20 north, range 6 east, town of Rome, Adams County, Wisconsin. And you all have a copy of the presentation, and we'll let Nick go ahead, and we also have Amy with us this evening, who is the purchaser of that property.
All right.
So Nick, you wanna start?
Yeah, I'll just give some general background just to kind of set it up, and then I'll hand it off, and then I'll be happy to answer any questions that anyone has. So before you this evening, you do have a resolution for sale of town-owned property in the town of Rome's Rome Town Center. This is consistent, from the standpoint of the resolution and process as we followed with other property sales in Rome Town Center. Specifically, this one is for 10 acres of property for the sale price of $70,000. The proposed use, just generally, and you'll sure get a larger presentation and kind of breakdown of it, but it's to develop a community of container and homes for rental on the property. The resolution that you have does state that the CDA did receive the offer to purchase and consider this at their April 4th, 2024 meeting. A counteroffer was submitted. I believe I included the counteroffer in your packet materials. The counteroffer, as we always do, does also incorporate the development agreement. A draft of that development agreement is included. I included the draft that was provided back with the purchasers or proposed purchasers initialing on each page. I'll take you through the development agreement, kind of highlights. It is very similar to our other development agreements. We put some very standard things in our development agreements with property sales in Rome Town Center. Just the general things that are in all these agreements is the idea that all of the costs of closing are borne by the purchaser. Those include also title insurance responsibilities as well. The other pieces in there include the paving requirement, that if paving isn't completed in a certain period of time, that could be done as a special assessment. Also, we always reference now a general idea that we are looking and exploring future provision potentially of sanitary sewer. And so in the event that were to happen, we need to have the ability to provide that and run that along. We also have some language for when that would need to be hooked up to. So within 10 years is our standard language in our development agreement. Finally, the standard language in our development agreement always calls for a commencement of business operations within 2 years. This is worded as 2 years of the date of the development agreement. I would just note that that kind of, in this situation, puts the development agreement signature out until closing probably. The other idea would be, and we've kind of informally talked about this at this point, but we could put that as the date of closing, would probably make more sense here. There are a number of conditions to the sale that I'll go into more detail with when I move from the standard things to the more specific. And those conditions would somewhat dictate, you know, the actual closing. And so it maybe make more sense to have this substantial development and commencement of operation within 2 years of the date of closing. So specific to this purchase, the idea, again, is the purchase price of $70,000 with the use as it's proposed. Important to note that, as you're likely all aware, we have a couple different layers of zoning going on in the Rome Town Center. We have our zoning district, RTC district, okay? So all of Rome Town Center is zoned RTC district. Then we have a number of sub-districts, and anyone that was at Tuesday's presentation heard a presentation about our sub-districts, the breakdown, and maybe some potential updates to that. Right now, we have a sub-district. This particular property is located in the sub-district that is mixed commercial light industrial. In our ordinance, in that sub-district, it does not allow for this use in that sub-district. So one of the conditions that you'll see in this development agreement is the idea that this has to be all approved to go forward with this type of use. That would mean there's only one sub-district currently that would allow for that. That would mean changing it to Mixed Town Center sub-district to allow for that use. So that area would need to be recategorized in the Mixed Town Center sub-district. Again, you know, that's today, and you know, all that with the caveat that we heard a presentation talking about more general approaches and that, but I'm talking about right now, and that's why I had to put that in the counteroffer and the development agreement. So just I want everybody to be aware that we do have a sub-district categorization that would need to be updated. If this were to move forward, that would be probably the next step in the process. It'd go through Plan Commission, it'd go through you all, okay? That is separate from the site plan of operation steps that would also go through the Plan Commission and you all. The other item of note in the development agreement is that there is a limitation, max of 6 units, so 6 rental units is the maximum. There's also a limitation on any land division or parceling out and separate sales of that property that would include condominiums is not allowed. So that's a more specific item for this particular development agreement. That isn't, you know, generally in other ones, because it's going to be specific to the type of development. So I'll leave it there, and of course I'm happy to answer additional questions, but I'll leave it there so you can maybe get some more background on the proposed use and what that sounds like, and then we can go from there.
So I'll introduce Amy, who presented, Amy Lorenz. I'll introduce you to the board. You met Cheryl already at CDA. This is Dan Minter. I'm Lori, you met already, and you've met Jackie at CDA, and then we have Tom Gabriel on the end. And maybe just introduce yourself and tell a little bit about the different developments you've done across the state, your background, and then introduce your project to them.
Sure. My name's Amy Lorenz, and I have been a home stager for about 18 years. Once my kids were in school, I became a full-time realtor, and then since then, I have purchased a development of 20 lots that was in the red from the developer and the bank, and I was able to develop 3 high-end spec homes on some of those lots and build on one for myself, and I still own one. That was highly profitable, and that is finished as of right now. I'm still on the architectural committee for that subdivision. I also am involved in a condominium project right on the Mississippi River called Pettibone Point. That is something that I've been involved in the design, and I've also been the realtor on all those. We are building out our 24th building right now. We'll have a total of 26 when it's completed. It's been profitable, and it's been a real addition to the city of La Crosse. So that's been the last 5 years. So I've also been on that board per se, and working on the covenants, restrictions, and helping the community of a new condo association begin. Let's see, what else? I was also part of another, covenants and restrictions community in the south, part of La Crosse, which is a association, with, pool, ponds, walking paths, basketball courts and such. So I have a lot of experience in working with people and design and what's overall best for the communities. Not getting nitpicky, always trying to help people work things out between the neighbors first, that type of thing. And, so that's my real estate. I've always worked in the higher end, listings. Right now I've got one, closing this month for 900,000, another one, is coming up for, I've got a listing right now, I just got 2 offers on, 875, so, work in that market, but then I also work in other markets. I'm helping one of those, clients actually purchase a home to flip, and we're closing on that one for 275. So I work all over, but mainly with those higher end buyers. It's just a niche I've been able to have, in our community.
So what drew you to the Rome Town Center in that particular parcel when you first contacted
Sure.
Jason and I, and this type of development for that parcel in the Rome Town Center?
So I think I have a niche of finding properties and knowing what people are looking for. And I've been looking for a community to put this type of situation into for quite some time. I looked at Hayward, I looked at our own area, and just learning more about Sand Valley and what Rome was doing to create basically a town from scratch is really intriguing to me. Being able to be a partner in that growth. And my husband and I also built out a Ram Pro Master, which is like a Sprinter van. So we have just that lifestyle of being on the road, and it's the experience of it all. And that's what this subdivision brings. It brings experience. It's different than any other, possible rental in the area per se, because it's gonna be a community of these smaller homes, and they're gonna be very unique. The experience is nature with walkability. So we love the fact that the parcel was walkable to the brewery and to the meat shop and to mini golf. You can do it all. If you're here with your family, you can send the kids out for ice cream and they can walk back. I do see it as probably a seasonal project, but yet because we're creating something so unique and we're located in the middle of the state, I can see the draw for a lot of other people coming just to have that even in the winter. So I think I'm not looking to take away from, the people that wanna stay at Sand Valley, because that's a totally different experience, or the people that wanna be on the lakes. It's just its own little niche.
Can you tell us can you kind of walk us through this or explain
Sure.
it? Because
Yeah.
some of the board members aren't on Plan Commission or CDA, so.
Yes, so, I've had a relationship with a container company. They're actually based in Spooner, Wisconsin. My in-laws live about 20 miles from there. And, it intrigued me. They do high-quality work, and they're actually creating a house plan per se for me right now by connecting 2 containers together, so it doesn't necessarily feel like a container. Also maybe stacking one on top. So it will be very livable, very high-end. And then also looking at maybe some stick built or some other modular type homes that give another experience, but yet they'll flow together real nicely.
So does anybody have any questions for Amy?
No questions, but it's a neat idea.
Thank you.
You intend to hire a manager or
Yes,
something, correct?
yes, yeah, we do have some ties to the area, so we'll see
Okay.
what that comes to. Otherwise I would, hire a management company, but that's not looking to do that.
Okay.
I want more of that personal touch.
So I think when you came to CDA, you didn't yet have anything actual to show us, like a model, a plan, what one of these units would look like.
Right? I'm in the
Nothing
process.
like
I thought I was
that?
gonna have it by today,
You
but
still don't have
I
that?
don't have it, but I can talk you through it. And actually, you know what, I do have a mock-up I could show you on my phone, what it would
No,
look like.
that's okay.
Basically, you would walk in, there would be a huge covered porch on one end, screened in, potentially a fireplace on that end. You walk through, there'd be, because there are two containers together, you're looking at least a 15 by 15 foot space. So you'd have a nice sized kitchen, dining room, living room, full bath with a master suite 15 by 15 on the back, and then an area with either bunks with a desk in it, or I would take that out and then I would put a spiral staircase in there, going upstairs to another container that would be going opposite, would be perpendicular to it, with 2 bedrooms and a bath up there. So that particular unit, then getting bid out, would be a 3-bedroom, maybe bunk as well, with at least 2 full baths. Very high end, very, you know, we're talking like quartz countertops and painted cabinets and high end tile. So, I mean, it's gonna be luxurious. It's not gonna be your typical glamping situation.
Be similar, would the exteriors look similar to something like this?
Yes, definitely going
Similar.
for that Scandinavian, modern design. They'll all be a little different, definitely have wood accents and blacks and maybe some lighter color tones with some black accents, but they will all flow together nicely, but they won't be identical.
Landscaping.
Landscaping, I would love to have what you're seeing in the pictures there, so lots of gravel, lots of natural trees. I wanna keep as many trees as possible. I wanna create walking paths, individual fire pits, either in the screened-in porch area, and outside, and then also have community areas. So I wanna be able to say like, let's say like 2 couples come, they want their own, or 2 families come, but they can still come together in areas.
So like a community area such
Yes.
as this. So this is very similar to like
Yeah.
what we had proposed to us at Plan Commission when Up North was being proposed, yeah.
Yeah, I want it to feel very much inclusive of what they're doing, but even more private.
And you'll have something enclosed and off the way for like garbage
Oh, absolutely,
and all that kind of stuff.
yes,
Okay.
yes. I don't like to,
Nobody wants, no.
Chomping over here.
No, this was put on my
Oh, I'm
desk.
sorry, Tom,
No,
I didn't even hear you.
This was put on my desk tonight. I'm looking at the developer's agreement and I see 6 units.
Okay,
And-
so, right on there, so I think it's the red. Nick, can I see your?
And it says red dots, 2 initial stays,
Right.
and I see all white dots. I guess I'm confused.
Oh, yeah, I don't know why it's like that. It doesn't really matter per se, so the red section is the 10 acres. And then we would like to maybe put, you know, see how this goes and put a right to first refusal
That's what
on
that is, yeah.
the blue portion.
Okay,
So-
then you've
That's what that was.
answered my question.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
wondering what the red line here showing 2, 4, 6, 7, 6 or 7, whatever.
Yeah.
That's the 10-acre parcel.
Yes, correct.
This would be an additional, say, give or take 5 acres if it was for future expansion.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we're not really even looking at this.
No. So
Not today.
I would like to put in a curvy road, one way, so it could be narrower and a little bit more quaint, and then have it go out the other way.
Now, you've answered my question. We're only looking at the red line.
Yes.
The blue line has nothing to do with the 10-acre purchase.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay,
And
that-
we have not received a request, nor has CDA had a conversation about the right
No,
of first
we
refusal.
just kind of started.
That's fine. She's answered my question. I didn't know what the separation was.
One other clarifying point, road, I think is being used
Oh, I'm
synonymously
sorry,
with like
driveway.
a drive.
Driveway.
That's-
It's not gonna be a
Thank
road,
you.
just,
Thank you.
To make it more quaint and
Add
rustic.
some more
But again, we're not here to decide that. We're just here to decide the sale.
Sarah,
Right.
I do have a question on the developer's agreement, that in the first after 24 months, 2 units have to be completed. Okay, so then is there a way to write in when the rest of the project is completed? Not that we just end up with only 2 units?
Right. The numbers don't work with only 2.
I mean,
Right,
that's
I'm
what
sorry.
you're saying,
Yeah,
but that's not on paper. And so if you get into this and put up 2 units and decided, whatever reason, it costs more, it's just not working, we could be left with a 10-acre parcel with 2 units sitting on it. The way this is written, is that correct?
well,
Is
this
there
gives
no
us the
re-
right to buy it back. at
with it to
$70,000.
buy it back, but it should,
If it's
it would
not-
still be complying by building the 2 units. There's no requirement to
Right.
build all
They
6
need to
units.
have commenced business operations,
Right,
which
and
would
it
be
says up to
Which is the
six.
wording in there is
No.
commence business operations.
With 2 units.
2 units. And at
So-
that point, the town cannot buy it back if she doesn't
Then you
want to
couldn't
proceed.
buy it back, and there's nothing that says the remaining units have to be built.
We can put a requirement in there, but I would just say we probably have to have a further conversation about what that looks like then. Because we're not buying it back at $70,000 if 2 units are there and we have a phase in there, you know, that the other 4 units need to be in operation within 4 years. In other words, there needs to be some kind of what happens.
Right.
Because this works for, this is pretty standard for all our development agreements.
Okay,
They
yeah.
need to commence business operations within a certain time. Recognizing this one's unique, and I get where you're going with that, we can do something, but we need to have some kind of what happens. And, because it's probably, it's not gonna be $70,000 we're buying that back for. Yeah,
Right.
because there's a significant investment for those 2
Exactly.
units.
So
And did we
some-
do that with the brewery? Did we do that with mini golf? Did we do that with the meat
Those-
market?
Those aren't comparable, though. We're talking about housing or rental units, and the brewery was one thing, the meat market was one building, these are one, this is, I'm not meaning to insult you, but you could build 2 units after the 24 months and just have 2 units on 10 acres, and it would not be as what's described here, because there's nothing that says you have to phase in to have a total of 6 units within a certain time period.
Yeah, conceivably, that's right. I mean, and so
True,
then
it's true.
I guess the question would be, are we then just having, you know, for the sake of conversation, are we talking then that there's a buyback of the unused land at, you know, a per acre price off of that 70,000? You get what I'm saying?
Right,
You
or
know, drawing that down.
requirement that the 6 units be completed within so many years.
Right, but what's the
However,
penalty or consequence?
I guess that's what we have to work out, because I don't have total confidence in this, because you haven't done it before. You've done a lot of staging, real estate sales, flipping, taking over existing properties. These are the things you're describing to us that you've done. But I don't see where you've started a project from scratch, ground up, and done anything like this with the containers. It's all something brand new for you, and I hope I have confidence that she'll do it and do it well, but I can't just say I would approve something just based on hopes. I'd want to see that there's a requirement that the project be finished.
Well, I can tell you that I'm working with national companies that do this professionally. I just got off a conference call earlier this morning on one. He professionally land hacks, and that's what this is. It's called land hacking. And it gets more profitable as we put more on. So there's no reason for me to not finish it. You know, it's just really not. I mean,
So that you
There might
wouldn't
be
have
a-
a problem having something written in that you finish it.
well, I mean,
If that's
you'd have-
something
I mean,
that
I
the
can't
board
tell you
wants
when
to
that
do.
would be, though. I mean, it all depends on what happens if the economy totally falls apart. No one's coming to the golf courses or Rome or anything. I mean, with the way that things have been in the last couple of years, I mean, you can't put a guarantee on a timeline on anything. You know, you used to be able to get a window in 2 weeks, and, you know, it was 8 months a couple of years ago, so I can't
Yeah.
guarantee that.
I can agree with Jackie that theoretically, we're approving a sale of 10 acres with a guarantee of 2 rental units
Within 2 years.
within 2 years.
Now,
That's all we get. Why don't we have a conversation of giving her, divide this in half and give her first right of refusal on the next 5 acres at the same cost that she's willing to pay now? And then if she doesn't complete the project, we have another lot to sell off to another developer. Otherwise, we're actually selling off 10 acres for 2 rental units. And I understand she plans to finish. I'm not disputing that at all, ma'am. But like you just said, if the economy tanks or finances don't come together, we sold 10 acres of our quote-unquote prime real estate that could only end up being 2 rental units. She
me
likes
ask-
first right of refusal on the property behind it. We can give her first right of refusal on 5 acres behind it. And as soon as she completes those, we won't raise the price on her or anything. She can, you know, whatever. That's just an idea. I can see Jackie's point. If we end up with 2 units on 10 acres in the Rome Town Center, it wasn't a wise
No.
decision.
Let me just ask a question. This is mixed commercial industrial land that she's interested in. These are industrial type units that are gonna be turned into short-term rentals, which we have all across this town. It's like a mini resort. This is land that's been sitting there for how long? How long has it been sitting there? But it's gonna put some, you know, it's gonna create, so it's like any other business that would come to us and wanna buy land. So she's proposing a total, I'm posing the question where person wants to purchase the land, and any other business that comes in and wants to buy the land is a business. She has successful real estate in other places. Just like any other business that would come to town and buy a piece of land that's been sitting there forever. She puts 2 units on it, and if those rent, they reinvest in the land, like other developers reinvest in the land. That goes well, then they reinvest and they put more on the land. They reinvest and they put more on the land. You trust that it's gonna keep growing. Wouldn't this be the same sort of concept? They buy the land, they build on it, they reinvest and they put more on it. They reinvest and then they put more on it. It's 10 acres of land that's been sitting there for how long? Nothing's happened.
But there
I
has
don't know,
been
I
more,
think
there has been more interest in the Rome Town Center.
this is a piece of land though that's light industrial commercial that nobody's been interested in, and it's near an area where there's manufactured homes across the street. And it's in an area that's going to create, I don't know, Supervisor Minter, may I just refer to Supervisor Minter and give
I was
him a
just gonna
chance?
build off, I understand your concerns.
I
you
do
know, on
too,
your end.
but
But building a little bit off of that, if we sell the 10 acres of land and she's successful in putting the 2 units on there and they never go anymore, either she's gonna wanna come back and either divide off part of the land to recoup some of the investment in the land, or it's going to sit there in its wooded state with trails or whatever was developed as a part of the beginning of the plan. And I don't see that, other than not getting 4 more units that would be potential rentals, I don't see that there's really much damage to us.
She
And
can't divide it.
She can't divide
She
it without
can't
having a
divide
conversation.
it.
having that
She can't
conversation
divide
with
it,
us, right.
so I don't see,
So
it would just be 2 rentals in there.
right, did we just do 2 rentals there?
On 10 acres though.
Well, so what?
the brewery sits on 7 acres of prime property
My
that
mom had
fronts
one
the
house on
highway.
113 acres.
But we're not
But
talking about the
on
same
the
thing.
same flip
It is the
side,
same thing, really.
on the same flip side, Chairwoman, you've also said we have to be cautious on how we divide up the rest of the property, because some of
It
these
is
businesses
true, it is true.
were sold more property than they need.
You're correct,
So
I
if we
have said that.
take that sentiment back, then theoretically, with the guarantee that we have of 2 units in 24 months, we are selling more property than she needs right now without another guarantee. And I see Jackie's point, I see your point, Dan, and I see your point, Lori, too, that it's been sitting there. But we're still at just the beginning stages of this. This is gonna take a long time to get through Plan Commission and back to the town board again, too.
Exactly,
So-
But another point could be, could it be amendment to the agreement of the sale that if there's 2 units, maybe in the next 24 months, we would expect another unit, I don't know. But if that would appease some of that, but I think, again, it's a business that's buying land in the mixed, we still have to go through the stage of reclassifying it. What did you say? I'm sorry.
I was gonna say categorize, but
Yeah,
classification, yeah.
reclassifying the land. So this is just selling the land, and it still has to go through a site plan of operation. It still has to go through some other things. But it's selling the land to a business that's proposing a use, like any other business that comes forward, and it's in mixed, it's in commercial light industrial, and these units are something that's new. And it's gonna make use of land that's just sitting there not doing anything right now behind a cranberry business that really, quite frankly, needs some work, and it's a perfect use of that land that needs to be reclassified, and so if she puts 2 units on it to start, yes, Nick?
So, I'm gonna put on a pseudo zoning hat, a planning and zoning hat for a moment. Just a couple general thoughts. I get what's being suggested and I understand the rationale behind it and the answer to, is it possible? Certainly, you know, it's possible to draw in language like that. The other piece of this though, as some that are on the plan commission can appreciate, when we get site plans of operation, we wanna see the plan, right? And if we compress them into a portion of this, that plan might not look quite as cohesive, okay, as it's segmented. Maybe the other option that could exist, if the purchaser is willing to do it, is if it would be you know, a better way of landing at like 3 within 3 years, you know, or something along those lines. That way, the development, you know, approaches this as a phased development, still in the full realm of this, but half of it in 3 years, and then at least that's half of the proposed. Well, I mean,
Number.
We ourselves are limiting. Remember, this to 6.
Yeah,
We're the ones limiting it to 6.
Right,
yeah.
which I think you could put more units in there.
Certainly could. But my point is, we are limiting it to 6. This would put it at half in 3 years. I don't know if that's acceptable. I'm just
Well, and-
proposing it as maybe a compromise to the concern there
Right.
with the idea that you also want a plan going into this, you know, as we work through the number of levels of approval that sets forth you know, the larger plan and cohesive, rather than having this look as segmented.
But.
Nick, I'm sorry,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, Nick, what,
I mean, my plan is to be able to purchase the land, get through all these stages, working with everyone in the community to get the site plan developed, finalize my numbers. Like I said, I've been working with national companies on how I can phase this, that it makes the most sense. My hope is that I can clear what I need to clear this fall, winter. In the meantime, the containers are being built. I can place them next spring and be open for next year with 2. And then the next fall, when it's not as busy, bring in another one for the next
Yeah.
spring. Or if it's going really well, 2 or 3. And that's within getting that done in the first 2 years. I'm not from this area where I have all of my subs. So I have to find a new survey company, but I found one today in my local area that I think can do it, or work with someone here. You know, I do know a contractor that just moved to this area, so working with him and help, he just built a house here. My goal is to get this done as quickly as possible. It doesn't make any sense for me to be sitting on it. I mean, the numbers just don't work
Right,
to sit on
right.
it.
So as you talk about numbers, and I don't know if
Yeah.
anybody can answer this, why did the CDA limit you to 6 and not 10 units on 10 acres? I
I
mean,
didn't ask for 10. She didn't ask for 10.
I mean, it just seems, okay, that answered my
Well,
question.
And to keep consistent, I don't wanna miscategorize this, and so please, anybody that's on that committee, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think keep consistent with this idea of rural, and not have this look like a dense hotel
Yeah.
type development.
and see, that was a resort, Tom, see, that was or Supervisor Gabriel, sorry.
Either way, it's okay.
I know, I'm trying to stay respectful, but that's a resort versus housing, where, we were talking about density with Sam over on the land that's for mixed housing and that, we're talking density where we'd have more homes type things or rental units. This is a resort feel over in that area, so she didn't ask for that many units.
Which you've
So,
answered my
which is-
question, it just
Yeah.
seems like a lot of properties.
But I could see, I mean, I see what she's saying, back to where it's like you get 2 units on there, you need to make your money, then you're gonna reinvest and put on another unit, and that's what she had explained to us originally, and I myself, if I was in that, I wanna know I'm gonna make some, and then put the next one on, and then put the next one on, and
Yeah.
you
I'm
can't
not-
do it all at once, you're not,
Don't misunderstand me or Jackie as we say this.
No, I
We
understand.
hope that you succeed. We hope that
yeah,
everybody
every
succeeds
business
in the
wants to
town of Rome.
succeed.
But we
I
also,
understand what I said too about density and not using up all, you got 10 acres for one business, we gotta use the land wisely, but I get her concept and why she's doing it in phases. But, so with that being said, I mean, if you're open to, even if there's an amendment on there that says, she has to have the first 2 units and in what time frame did we say?
24 months
Listen,
after
three
closing.
units in 3 years.
well, we said, yeah, 3 units and
Well,
3,
that was what I suggested. I'm saying.
which
I
is
don't know if that's
basically what
exactly-
Amy
What you
just
just
said.
said.
Yeah, Amy just said that, so, I mean, or if we're fine, I'm still, I don't know how you feel on this end, or,
Would 3 years be okay? I mean, if we do put the amendment in?
That's what I was planning, but like I said, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with getting the utilities, and what if the water company can't help me get the utilities, and I mean, I'm just wanting to,
see, and
to
she's,
pull out for the unexpected.
So let me
Yeah.
just, for those that have not been on the board during, you know, the past experiences, we have bought back property. We've had to do that. And to maybe leave you feeling maybe a little bit better about it, I don't think that this has been used as a big hammer to swing. What it has been used for is that this property can't just be camped on for years without development.
right,
If those situations that are being described were happening, and you were continuing to inform the board or the town, you know, some committee or commission, this is likely not going to be, you know, something that's going to be immediately active because you have a delay in water, right? You know, but my point, and so I think if we can come to some kind of compromise, I think the idea here is that we put this in here to eliminate the ability to purchase by promising, and then years go by, and then it becomes more marketable, because we are, you know, oftentimes we want to induce development. We don't want to see just parcels of property bought up and sat on. And so that is what that's used for. We've used it in the past. It has been, just so everybody's clear, in the past where it's been used, it has been requested of us to buy it back, because they knew they weren't going to develop it in the 2 years. That's been a request to us. We've then processed that through, bought it back at the agreed price in the development agreement, and moved on.
right,
I don't have a problem with leaving it as is, but
I don't,
if
I don't
you
either,
wanna,
really.
what do you
I
guys think
don't- I
about
don't-
making the amendment? I'm okay with the 2 years. I'm
I am too.
pretty
I-
confident that she's not gonna be profitable unless she puts something up. She's not gonna make the investment if she can't make any money back.
Does that mean you're ready to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the resolution number 24, authorizing the sale of a 10-acre portion of town-owned property in the Rome Town Center, being part of parcel number 030-01136-0501, located in part of the northwest 1/4, northwest 1/4, and northeast 1/4, northwest 1/4 of section 17, town 20 north, range 6E, town of Roane, Adams County.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Supervisor Evenson and a second by Supervisor Minter for the approval of resolution number 24, authorizing the sale of a 10-acre portion of town-owned property in the Rome Town Center, being part of parcel 030-01136-0501. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Wait, motion carries. Thank you, Amy. And then the next step for Amy then,
We can
opposing was Supervisor Gabriel and Cole.
We can follow up with her, to talk about next steps,
All right,
but it'll be to the plan commission.
all right. And then she will be working with, on her site plan of operation. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
I'd assume so.
Alrighty then. Alright, and then we have item number 20, discussion and possible action, implementation of the Town of Rome organizational study recommendations. Jason, you wanna tee this one up? Or we
Sure,
got-
so at our staff meeting, we had a department head meeting, it was brought up that the study hasn't formally been approved. In your packet, you'll see Chris's recommendations with individuals responsible, so some of the stuff we've started rolling out, like the Lexipol and policies and stuff, I don't know what the board's desire is, if it's to approve the whole organizational study or approve certain things on here. But there's a significant amount of work, public work staffing is covered on here, full-time versus part-time. That was a specific question that was brought to me as well. It hasn't been adopted that I'm not going to hire the full-time person. So we were kind of on a standby, so I said I would bring this to the board to see if it was actually going to be implemented as written or more discussion was gonna happen so we can start moving on things.
So you're being challenged?
Not really, but we need to adopt these are his recommendations, so
Are there key recommendations on here that would be most useful for you to us adopt today? And then some of them are not as crucial because they're kind of long-range things and that we might want to give more time to, but things that would help you do your job better now.
yes. So I think you're doing some of them already, A2, A3.
So if we wanted to go down A2, A1,
Which,
I've read through all of these, and I think, I don't know, we went through all of them with Chris, and I've read through all of them. I think we should just go ahead and adopt the whole study and the recommendations.
Because it's gonna be up to the staff to actually implement the recommendations.
Some of them.
Some come
Some
from
of them
us.
are us.
Some of them come from us, but a lot of them will come from staff, and.
Some of them
we-
we're already in the process of too, Supervisor
I
Mentor, you
understand.
know?
And
So we
to
might
say,
as,
We invested the money in the study, and if we don't have any issues with the recommendations, which I don't have any issue
I
with
don't
any
either.
recommendation on here, I would say we just adopt it, and then, you mentioned that you already had some people tied to, you know, being responsible for implementing. That didn't come through on our packet. We have the column of recommendations, but then the other two columns are blank.
oh, here,
What?
he's got the same thing.
I got the
We
same one you
didn't-
got.
yeah.
Look at where it says person responsible, it's blank. He had
Oh.
said there were people that were listed as being responsible for some of them already. I mean, it's no big deal, because.
oh, but I think what we need to do probably then, once we adopt this, maybe the next meeting, well, then you go through the list and then,
Figure out who's responsible.
We'll sit
Yeah.
together as staff and
Yeah.
fill it out, but before we did that, staff was
Yeah.
requesting that, hey, the
Yes.
board needs to,
and then I think the board
Say move
needs to do
forward
it
with
too.
this.
Because we've got our long-range plan, which we're working on, the corp was on here, capital improvement, the board has to do that with, like Greg, when we go through our financial study.
But I would say for that is, once staff fills in the areas that they feel most responsible for, then the
We bring
rest
it
can
back.
come back here and we can verify that, yeah, you know, those few items are really board responsibility for
Yeah.
us to organize. Or we might say, well, no, we really don't think we should do that one, we think it should be somebody on the staff, and kick it back to them, but, yeah.
Yeah, like there's one on here for CDA, there's one on here for GIS, I would go probably to zoning, here's one, you know, for, yep, long-range
I move we
plan.
adopt the recommendations presented to us for the town organizational and short-term operations. I guess that's not the only thing.
All right,
I move we adopt the recommendations as presented, and then have staff begin to determine responsible parties and potential timeframes.
I'll second.
okay, so we have a motion by Supervisor Minter, a second by Supervisor Cole, to adopt the implementation of the Town of Rome organizational study recommendations and fill out responsible parties and timeframes and priority. And maybe the board should take a, well, yeah, you didn't make
Let's let
that,
staff
but,
do it first,
yeah,
then we
board
fill
do
in
it
what's
first.
left.
Yep,
Otherwise, we end up taking too much.
yep.
Got it right here.
Staff has it.
Any more, Supervisor Cole? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, dates and items for future agenda and meetings. Next agenda items, as usual, it'll build out itself. But we will talk about some training dates in June for the town board and our committees. We talked about the Plan Commission and CDA. UWSP has some training courses. They'll give us some information. So watch for a doodle poll, and Nick can help us with that as well. And then Supervisor Minter.
I would like to with an idea of addressing the potential canine unit that the police department is looking at, I would like to have an update of how much is left of ARPA funds that we have not yet spent, or
Oh.
otherwise obligated.
I think it's obligated out.
I think we're
Yeah,
obligated.
When you get
we're done
obligated
with
right
that.
now? Okay, well, then an update on how much is in that can fund with the idea of looking at doing some sort of a jumpstart donation to the canine that might go along really nicely with the Dash for the Dog in a couple of weeks. How much is that canine gonna cost? About 15,000-20,000?
Oh,
That's to get this one.
Closer to 100,000.
So it's gonna take a while to
Well,
develop.
100, the,
oh, I was, 200
Training of
even.
the,
No,
like,
not
the
200.
officer.
Yearly fees then
With
on
that
top.
as well.
the cost of the dog and the training is probably right around 30,000, but the
Okay.
cost is the vehicle for it. I mean, the vehicle's half of the 100,000.
Gotta have the
50
cage
for-
and everything.
Right, but, yeah, but that vehicle would potentially be in the rotation of your squad replacements.
Yes,
Cause it would just be one of your squads, but it would be outfitted to carry the dog around,
correct.
so.
Then somebody's gotta learn
My dog likes
Dutch.
to sit in the front seat and look out the window, so, I mean.
I
But
get the
that's
dog on
beside
the
the point.
weekends.
But anyhow, I'd just like to know how much do we have
Okay.
in the can fund, and maybe would we have a report by the first meeting in June about how much was raised at Dash for the Dog?
Yeah.
Okay,
I suppose my extra scarf won't help much.
So,
We did set up a donation link, for people that can't attend, and we got a $200 donation the other day,
Nice.
and a few others, so.
Are there other fundraisers planned?
I don't think yet there are, but let's see where we're at, and we go from there.
Yeah,
All right.
Cal's is doing an ATV ride.
Oh.
Who is?
Cal's.
Oh,
We're-
Well, and I know that the police commission is going to be at the farmer's market every other Friday, cause we're switching off.
Oh,
to the
yes.
Library, so I'm assuming they'll have the ability at the farmer's market.
something similar to a boot, like the fireman's fund, right?
There's a little
Yeah,
bucket
yep.
for donations.
Yeah, we've also talked to the businesses, Brian took flyers out, but we're getting some little banks that you could like set on the bar top or whatever to put donations in, and we're gonna try and get businesses to put those in for
Cool.
change and whatnot.
What about selling those little dogs like Adam's
Oh, yeah, we could steal Brent's
Do you want me to
idea.
look
You want
into
some
it?
little blue dogs?
I'm trying not to steal ideas that our partners are using.
It's not
Don't
called
use the word
stealing
steal.
ideas, it's called borrowing and not reinventing the wheel.
The corporation had that idea, not Adams County.
Exactly.
We can do something similar, I just don't want
Yeah.
confusion that
Yeah.
they think they're donating to Adams
Yes.
County or the
Yeah.
Bulldog, and they're not, and then there's tension between
yeah.
departments, so.
Alrighty, any other ideas or next agenda items? Alright, they'll pop up, that's for sure. Alright, we did pretty good tonight. Next meeting date and time is what, June 5th, 6th.
Wait,
And don't forget,
what date was that now, did you say?
June 6th.
6th.
And don't forget, we have Board of Review on June 4th at 3 o'clock. All right, and 2 of us are certified, me and Jackie,
Fourth at 3.
so we definitely can't miss
June
it.
6th, the normal board meeting time at 5 o'clock, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Well, we get an extra week off, huh? This 4 Thursdays this month,
Yeah,
huh? We
and
get-
enjoy your Memorial Day weekend, everyone.
What are you gonna do for 4th of July? It's on a Thursday.
We'll worry about it when we get to the end of June.
Just for your information, I will not be here at the second meeting in June, I'm in Bismarck,
All right,
and I'm not attending
it's nice-
remotely.
okay. All right,
I may have an issue with the 4th of July, if you keep it.
everybody will have an issue on the 4th of July.
Okay, so,
We'll probably have to move that one, keep it in mind, I think usually when it's fallen on the 4th, don't we do it on that Wednesday then? Well, we'll worry about it when we get closer. Yeah, we'll worry about it when we get closer.
First week of July,
All right, meeting adjourned, everyone. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
I've